listening to the Seven Rivers Student Ministry podcast. We believe that all students are lovable through a relationship with Jesus. If you'd like to know more about our ministry, you can visit us at www.sevenrivers.org/students.
Welcome to the Book Club, a podcast full of conversations about books that teach us stuff.
I'm so pumped.
Guys, that is the voice of Jason Newayhead himself.
I am so excited to be here. This is awesome.
He's here. If you are on any of our audio platforms, then you cannot see Jason. Those of you who are watching on YouTube obviously already knew that he was in the shot. But today we have our first guest on the podcast, Jason Newayhead.
What an honor to be here.
What an honor.
You know, I know that your emails have been, just hundreds are coming in a day.
Yeah.
And somehow you got my email.
Yeah.
Begging you to be on this.
Well,
so I'm thankful.
Honestly, it was less the email that got you here and more the fact that you asked me on the hour, every hour for the last 3 weeks if you could be on my podcast.
Like, please,
and I was just
Sarah,
kind of tired of listening.
Please,
yeah.
please,
He would hold the please for the entire hour. And then at the beginning of the next hour, he would just start the question over again. Can I please be on your podcast?
Yeah. Well, I'm here.
I've been completely unproductive for weeks. So I finally said yes. So Jason is here.
Well, I'm so pumped.
We are here to talk about Faith for Exiles by Mark Matlock and David Kinnaman. Jason, have you read this book?
Not only have I read it, but I have talked about it every week for the last 12 weeks.
It's been like years because we took a break during COVID.
Yeah,
We've been talking about it every week for like 100 years at this point.
So I'm pumped to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Guys, today we're going to talk about mentorship. So, are you ready to get started?
Let's go.
Let's go. Well,
welcome back.
Welcome back. Guys, this is, I said it last week on the podcast, but this is my favorite chapter in the book because I think it's the most, just the most passionate about it. So this week we're talking about mentorship. The last couple of weeks, if you don't know what we talked about, go back and listen.
Pause your video and come back. Welcome back.
Okay,
yeah,
great,
welcome
great.
back.
So now you guys know what we've talked about.
We are so proud of you for listening to all the episodes.
Oh man. So this chapter was really is one of my favorites, but it kind of starts off and it starts talking about students are plagued, millennials, not even students, but millennials, 18 to 25-year-olds are plagued at this point with with isolation and mistrust or distrust. So the idea that they don't feel like they're connected, even though they're obviously constantly connected through social media.
Yeah.
And they're not trusting people because they don't have those deep connections that they think that they have or think they should have at this point. So that's kind of what's plaguing millennials now. And the book, and we know this, says that the way to remedy that issue is through mentorship or deeper connections. So have you ever, Jason, had, do you have any mentors? Have you ever been mentored? What has your experience been like in a mentorship situation?
I definitely have been mentored. It's part of my story. A lot of good men have taken initiative and poured into me. It was easy. It was as easy as playing basketball with me. I had a mentor who would just take me to the courts and we'd just play, and he would beat me every time. And he's like, "One day you'll beat me," but
you never did.
Never did. Yeah. He could probably still beat me. So, but we grew in our conversations through that. So, yeah, there's just our Our conversations kept on growing. My trust kept on growing, and I had no idea what it was. I was in
Right.
middle school. I was just like, oh, this guy's really cool. He wants to hang out with me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been my experience with mentors too. They kind of become I kind of just naturally begin to trust them because we spend so much time doing what seem like mundane things together. I had a mentor in college, and she would just call and ask me if I wanted to go to Target like once a week. And in my mind, I was like, oh, she just wants to be friends. But the reality was, what I know now that I'm older is that she was mentoring me. She was teaching me how to follow Jesus in the way that she was following Jesus. And so what is mentorship? Oh, there's Mikey in the background of the video. Guys, if you're on audio, you should be watching on YouTube. You're missing some fun stuff here.
Yeah.
Mikey's truck in the back of the shot. Mikey dancing. I don't even know what else going on back there. And now I've lost my train of thought. Mentors.
And you started talking about your mentor
Mikey,
in college.
Yeah, she was great. So, what do you think a mentor is? Like, how would you define a mentor? Would you define it as, How would you define it?
How would I define mentor? This is just off the top of my head.
Yeah. I have not given Jason any questions ahead of time.
I'm not the expert in this either. But a mentor is someone who intentionally seeks someone out to, I guess, in a Christian mindset, show them Jesus, and that show him through his actions and words, and you kind of build a trust through it, and so it's a bond that you have someone above you coming down to be with you and see where you're at and help to bring you up and help to bring you, by up I mean closer to God, closer to Jesus, and to grow you. So someone up coming down to meet you where you're at.
I like that. I think initially my thought is someone older, but I like the idea of up because there are ways that even you could mentor me, and you're younger than me, and maybe newer in your faith maybe than me too, but also farther along in some areas, and maybe I'm farther along in other areas. But the idea that, I could have a mentor who's my age but farther along spiritually, or who's much older than me, or who's younger than me, or wherever on the spectrum they are as far as age goes. If they're farther along than I am, then I can follow them toward Jesus as they're walking toward Jesus. Would you say that is kind of,
like, I think you think of like a classroom setting, like sometimes when you're like, we have like, people go back to college when they're 30s or 40s, or 50s, and the professor's like maybe 28, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, but he still knows more in that field. And you even see that in like seminary, or, where missionaries come back and they want to go to seminary at 40 or 50, and like just happens. Or even like when I was at Seminole State, which is a state college in Orlando, and so I'd had people in there that were older, and so but they were still learning from a younger professor. So like, age isn't really, it's usually someone older, but not always the case.
I think I like, there's another thing that I was reading, Acts, I think it's 9, where it's talking about the relationship between Paul, Timothy, and Barnabas, and how there are these 3 men who are very like-minded individuals. They all like are passionate about Jesus. They're all like going toward this one goal of advancing the kingdom and of growing the church. And you've got Paul, who's kind of the father of both of them. And then you've got Timothy, who's under Paul, but then you've got Barnabas, who is Timothy's like equal. So he's got like somebody walking alongside him. Timothy's got somebody walking alongside him, and then he's got somebody who's mentoring him as well. And so there's like these deep connections that are on different levels from one another, but they're both encouraging Timothy to walk toward walk toward holiness and grow in holiness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So every time I think of mentorship, I kind of, that Paul Timothy relationship is just a classic example, like biblically speaking, the classic example. We see it so much in the New Testament. And then, so I like that. And I like the idea that we're all like-minded. I think I've said that 100 times at this point in this episode, but the idea that they're all like-minded, they're all going for the same thing. They're all striving for the same goal. And that doesn't mean that they have to be the same person. They can be, I can be working at a church and someone else can be an engineer, and then someone else can be a teacher. And the three of us can all learn from each other in our walks with Jesus. And we can all kind of mentor one another, because while it may manifest in different jobs, we are all like-minded individuals because we're all seeking Jesus. So I kind of like that that illustration. So what do you think we do? So we've got this issue in modern culture where we are so connected digitally. I mean, we're always scrolling Instagram. We're always looking on Facebook. We're texting constantly. We're playing video games where we can talk to each other through a microphone to one another about the video game. We're on Twitch or whatever where you can watch other people play video games. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that we're connected to one another. I can look at your Pinterest boards and I can see everything that you've repinned, all the recipes you want to make next week. I can see Jason pins a lot of outfits he wants to wear. He's got a huge mood board outfit kind of thing going on. Right now, I don't know what that phase is, but anyway, I can know everything about you.
It's just an emo phase, It's just I
can know everything about you, and
we have students
sorry guys,
just,
a little shout out to some of our students waving through the window at us.
Some graduates.
But I can know so much about you and still not know you deeply. So what do we do about that? How do we move forward as parents, parenting our teenagers, or as disciplers, discipling students? What does it look like for us to encourage mentorship? What does it look like? What are some steps that we can take as adults, or even those teenagers that are listening and reading along with us because they want to be resilient disciples? What does it look like to move forward and to prioritize mentorship to in
the realm of social media?
Either way, I think that I mentioned social media partially because a lot of the book talks about digital Babylon and the idea of, but also because we have this false sense of connection all the time. I know everything about you, but I don't know you. I may have never even met you before, but I know all these things about you. So I have this sense of knowing you and being connected with you. But if I sat down at dinner, I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know what your relationship with Jesus really is. I know what you've posted on social media. And so I think that it just leaves this void. It leaves this this place in ourselves where we want to be fully known and fully loved. We want to be deeply known. And we try to fill that void with social media. But I think what really... what we need is for people to come in and to guide us and to know us and to teach us and to show us the way. Does that connect? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what does it look like for us to be intentional about mentorship, to be intentional with our students, to be intentional ourselves in mentorship?
Yeah, that's a great question. You brought up a lot of good points about we all want to be known and seen, and oftentimes we post an Instagram story or MySpace. No, I'm just kidding.
You
guys know what that is?
Go check out Jason's new EP on MySpace.
I'm still on MySpace. I'm still going strong. I'm probably the most friend. What was it?
Oh gosh,
it was a friend. It wasn't followers. It was.
Was it friends?
I don't know.
Because you had your top 5 friends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the most friends on MySpace. So.
Yeah. Whatever.
So what does it look like to steward that stuff well, and if you are a mentor, what does your Instagram look like? And it might call into question. Like you might have to go back, and maybe it's wise to delete some photos that you posted 4 years ago that you forgot about. But like, if your student is looking through that might be, oh, if Billy Joe did that, maybe it's okay for me.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the mentor's name is Billy Joe.
I actually had a friend in college named Billy Joe.
Yeah.
And she was great.
Yeah. She might be the one I'm talking about. She might need to go back to her Instagram and delete.
Definitely, probably does. Hey, Billy Joe. You know who I'm talking about.
At Billy Joe.
Billy
Greenville.
Joe.
No. Yeah. So I mean, just being wise. Like, what would what would you want your kids, even if you don't have kids, so just picture like what would you want your kids' Instagram to look like, And so.
Yeah. How do you find a mentor?
That's a great question. Sometimes, they just pursue you, and it's a beautiful thing where someone just takes the initiative and cares about you and pursues you. And sometimes you have to pursue it. You might have to come to youth group or sign up for, like, reach out to someone like, hey, I want someone to mentor me. Reach out to, if you go to Seven Rivers, reach out to one of us. We'd love to meet you, talk to you. And we have a lot of leaders here on Wednesday nights who are awesome leaders who would love to mentor you. Sometimes you got to pursue the mentor. Maybe ask someone and say, "Hey, could you mentor me?" It's awkward and weird, but you're being intentional.
Yeah, I think intentionality is a big deal. I can't imagine being able to mentor someone who has never, like, who doesn't show up. So if someone is interested in mentorship, they have to be as committed as the mentor is as well. And there are different again. I think there are different levels of mentorship. I think it's important to say that. So you can have a mentorship that is simply someone who you know and who you respect and who you kind of follow from afar, and you kind of see what they're doing, kind of aspire to be like them, more of a role model kind of situation. And then there's the mentorship of, we're going to meet once a month, catch up. I'm going to bring you to work with me so you can see what I do. I'm going to, maybe we'll read a book of the Bible together, but still kind of, and then there are people who you see on a daily basis, or like a pastor who maybe you don't have a super personal relationship with, but who still mentors you on some level. And so there are different levels of mentorship in that way, but I also think it's important to be intentional with, I know we talked about it one week, but there are some men in the church who have sons who are in high school now, and so as they kind of have started to mature, their dads have found men that they respect and ask them, like, hey, will you like meet with my son once a month or once a week or whatever the case may be. And so as parents, I think that's a good step that we can take moving forward is find people who that your kids connect with already, or find people who you think your kids would connect with, whether it's because of their occupation or because of their walk with Jesus or because of their interest in baseball or whatever the case may be. Go seek those people out as a parent and say, hey, my son just turned 13 or my daughter just turned 10. Like, I would love for you to meet with them once a month and bring them in to disciple. And there's also, and then you're right, we have small groups every Wednesday night. So that's an easy, instant, weekly opportunity for some sort of mentorship where you and 6 or 7 or 8 other students get to sit in a room together and tell your story and talk through your story, talk through your pain, talk through your joy, talk through the sermon for the week, talk through all kinds of things with a trusted adult. And I mean, that's been fun to see, just even this semester, to be able to see leaders who are interested in their students' lives and in their students' stories, and they're able to just talk about life together, and these students are just loving it. I mean, there's who doesn't want one more adult in their life who loves Jesus and who loves them and who wants to, be a part of their lives. What parent doesn't want that for their kids too? So I think those are good kind of starting points for mentorship. Just seeking it out, being intentional, whether you're the mentor or the mentee, seeking it out. And then as you are able to create these deeper, more meaningful relationships, your relationship with Jesus is going to grow if they love Jesus, I would hope. It's an opportunity just to be pointed in the direction of Jesus.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's awesome.
Any other thoughts on mentorship?
No, I mean, I think that's, it gives it a basis of, like, hey, if you want to, if you're in a situation where no one's pursuing you, you might need to go pursue someone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the case for friendship too. Yeah. For friendship, for mentorship, for everything.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation 1,000 times. Go pursue people.
Yeah.
Go love people well.
Who are you mentoring? If you're listening, are you mentoring someone?
Yeah. That's a great.
Why not? Is it time?
It's a great question.
So we'd love to hear from you. What do you think? What do you think about mentorship? Email us at
srsm@sevenrivers.org.
Yeah, we love to hear from you.
If you have any thoughts, any questions, any ideas about mentorship, please let us know. If you're interested in being a mentor, let us know. we
got something for it.
We've got something
we got
for you.
80 kids.
Wink, wink. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you for being here.
Well, what an honor,
Yeah.
This lived up to the hype.
It was.
This broke the ceiling of, like, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. It was
way better than great.
Way better, yeah.
Above great.
Oh, my goodness. It was life change. This is way different than the podcast Mikey does. This is.
Oh, yeah?
Like, on another level.
Yeah, we didn't.
I don't think Mikey realizes how, like, much higher this podcast is.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I've heard, guys, I didn't even introduce. Jason is the one and only host of another podcast called The Culture Cast.
Well, it's Mikey is another host on.
Yeah, but it's your podcast that Mikey comes on.
Yeah, he visits every week.
Every week. But The Culture Cast is Jason's podcast. So, if you want more content from Jason.
If you want to talk about Post Malone, Taylor Swift,
a little Post Malone,
we got the place for you.
Yeah. What's coming up this week?
That is an amazing question. I do not know when this is going to be.
Right, we recorded a lot of those earlier on.
I don't know when this will be posted either. So
this is going to be posted tomorrow.
Okay. So this week will be something amazing.
It's going to be so good.
And
you know what?
Secret.
It is a secret. Top secret information. Check us out on Seven Rivers Student Ministry, Spotify,
YouTube, Facebook,
Instagram,
MySpace
Apple Podcasts, MySpace. Do not go to MySpace. It's not even a real website. I think like Yahoo bought it out, and then Yahoo doesn't even exist anymore.
Vine, who remembers Vine?
Oh, R.I.P. Vine, man. That was like pre-TikTok days.
I'm glad that's gone, actually.
Do you have would you have to delete something from
I probably
Vine?
have to, not just like. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Not
Jason,
anything too inappropriate.
Thank the Lord for some of Jason's mentors. They really pulled him out of the mire, muck and mire into.
But MySpace is awesome. Let's bring
I
back.
I love MySpace.
The space.
So you know what? I guess if parents are listening, they know exactly what we're talking about. But these students have no clue.
Oh, they know.
Do they?
Yeah.
We should create. Yeah. So check us out. Find us wherever books are sold. And we can't wait to see you again next week on the book club. Have a great week. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the book club. We were glad that you were here. If you love our content, you can follow us on Instagram or on Facebook at Seven Rivers Student Ministry. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, tips on podcasting, you can email us at srsm@sevenrivers.org. Also, if you love this podcast, please subscribe to it. If you really love this podcast, give us a 5-star review. That helps us get this content out to more people on more platforms. We love you guys, and we can't wait to see